He's done 2 new TikToks since I last checked, which isn't a lot.
Hi. Now that we have sort of diverse cultures piling in the country in boats and legally, I think you should know what sort of cultures we have. So I'm going to do a series on the cultures that are being brought into the country, because, you know, we used to be just British culture, and now we're a melting pot, multinational, aren't we? Immigration and all that, you know, like 10%, 15% of people here in England now weren't born here. So we need to know what their beliefs are so we can watch out for it, right? So around the world, for instance, homosexuality is criminalized, that to be gay is an awful thing. Or are they coming here to avoid persecution because they're gay? Well, it's outlawed and penalised, sometimes with death. According to Statistical Research Department, 2024, homosexuality is criticised in 64 countries. Most of those countries in the Middle East, Africa and Asia. You'd be surprised to know that 12 countries, homosexuality is punishable with death. Death.
Yeah, Alan, I wouldn't be surprised by this because I'm a little more worldly in knowledge than you. How are you surprised by this?
In many cases, the laws only apply between 2 men. But 38 countries have amendments to that, includes those between women as well. Wow.
Wow.
Is this not abuse of human rights?
Yes, and do you not want to get rid of the European Court of Human Rights so that you can ban the people from coming in our country? So do you see why it's so important that we maintain the European Court of Human Rights? And do you see why it's so important that the standard bearing for human rights should be upheld in our country? Which side of the argument are you on, Alan?
You know, the Human Rights Acts and all that, right?
Yeah.
Don't we complain to these countries about stoning?
Well, sort of, but we don't govern these countries, and you can't start a war because you think in other countries you want to change their laws. But do we complain to them? Sort of. Like, that's a complicated thing, isn't it? Like, if you think about what the Tories have been doing with Saudi Arabia and the selling of the aeroplanes to them and the, you know, creating of these Gulf states, like, do we complain to them? And then the sport washing and, like, you know, all the boxing going on over there, and, like, do we complain to them? Some people might protest human rights violations in other countries. They might be supporters of, I don't know, a charity like Amnesty International. Do we complain to them? Alan, you've spent your last 6 to 8 weeks arguing in favour of violating the Human Rights Acts so that we can punish immigrants. Do we complain to Saudi Arabia about their mistreatment of homosexual individuals and outlawing of the practice?
People and throwing them off flats because they're gay. Well, which countries enforce the death penalty the most? Number 1 is Saudi Arabia. The Wahhabi interpretation of Sharia law in Saudi Arabia maintains the acts of homosexuality should be
Did you watch Anthony Joshua's boxing match at the weekend?
Disciplined the same way as adultery, stoning by death. Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Homosexuality or non-conform gender expression can be punished by corporal punishment.
What's your point? Do you know how much Saudi money there is in your lovely London?
Blogging, imprisonment.
What about all the football teams? Who owns Chelsea? Who owns Man City?
Forced therapy. In January 22, 3 men were decapitated in Saudi Arabia for being convicted of
You can't even speak.
sodomy. Same-sex marriage. 3 people beheaded. In 2019, the Saudi Arabia government orchestrated a mass execution of 17 men, 5 of who were convicted of same-sex intercourse, after 1 was tortured and confessed. Number 2 is Iran. Homosexuality is illegal in Iran and carries severe punishment. under the Islamic Penal Code. It's considered a crime. Those participating in same-sex sex can face imprisonment, flogging, and even the death penalty. For example, in 2022, 2 men were convicted of carried out homosexual relations were hanged to death in a prison.
So this is bizarre because it feels like Alan's now reading left-wing rhetoric. Like, this is the argument for allowing people to seek asylum in our country. I'm just like, what? And like, I don't know how much, like, you know, I want to switch over to playing a stupid video game in a minute, but I don't know how much, I keep saying about these video games and never playing them. I don't know how much time in my life I've got for this, but Alan's got enough time to sort of read it all off a website. There's his beard for you. Like, I am surprised though. Has he not spotted this now at 3 minutes in? He sort of did at the start. He was like, so these are bad countries. He said it as well, like maybe that's why they're coming to seek asylum here. But I think he's going to try and twist it around to say if they're going to do this in their country, they might make it like this in our country. They might come here and ban homosexuality after they've managed to import some 40 million people eventually in 200 years. But because it would take that long, right? But that's not what's going to happen. That's silly. But the irony of that again is that the people he's in favour of, the right wing, they are more anti-homosexual. They are the ones that are more like strict and authoritarian and hard on crime, and like, you know, that whole discussion about trans rights and stuff. Like, you're anti-LGBT and woke, aren't you? Like, you're right wing, you're anti-LGBT and woke. So you think these people that are coming here that think the gay is wrong and the death penalty for gays are actually good, don't you? Because although you probably don't want the death penalty for gay people, aren't you anti-woke? Aren't you anti the LGBTQ wokey agenda? So are you confused with your rhetoric here? It seems really, really weird. It seems really weird that Alan's reading this.
Women don't suffer the same punishment, but they will get lashings and fines. The Iranian government justified the stance.
Or is it simply that we don't like, you know, because this happened with Mohammed Al-Fayed recently, is like he's a big target because he's done, like, you know, sex crimes in the past. He's dead now, isn't he? But there's also people who want to jump on that because he's an example of an Arabic man who's done these things. A rich man, maybe, a Londoner, but an Arabic man as well. And it's an opportunity to sort of turn on the Arabs. But for Alan, like, these people, like I'm saying, like, surely, like, it feels like he's arguing against his own setup here. Like, let me get this straight. These people are anti this, but you are, and
by citing religious and cultural reasons, claiming homosexuality is a sin and goes against Islamic values. So there's quite a few Iranians here, isn't there? Yemen, homosexuality is
Iranians
legal and punishable by imprisonment for 3 years. So these are countries where you daren't be openly gay, right?
Mm-hmm.
You will be tortured and whipped and things like that.
Yeah. Which is something that Alan's done to his sexual partners. You know, the tragedy of it is that there are people there that obviously have to live in fear because they're just born there, aren't they? Like, so I suppose we should do more to put pressure on these countries, but yeah, anyway, sorry. I'm really, really thrown by this one. It's late at night. I'm a bit tired and stoned. And I'm confused that Alan is arguing, because I think what he's going to have to say is that what these people are doing is bad. And I don't know if he's going to understand that the inference is that what he's been doing is bad as well. Because like what he's been saying about these immigrants is basically equally as demeaning, and like they're dehumanizing homosexual people and criminalizing them in these countries. And like Alan's basically been doing the same about immigrants and whomever else. And the hard right, like he's anti-LGBTQ woke. So yeah, I keep saying it because it's like won't go into my head.
2024, 9 members sentenced to death by a Houthi court in Dalmar, northern Yemen. Charged of sodomy. 7 of those men were executed by stoning.
But yeah, but that was what I was saying. Is this just anti-Arabic rhetoric? Is it enough that it's bad Arabs, therefore we're going to throw it around? Is that the point? Because like I agree, this is bad for these countries and this misogyny in those cultures. Like I totally agree, but like I worry that the reason that we're now like it's like just and let's say something bad about the Arab people, even if it doesn't fit properly with the politics that we've been preaching. Like let's just say it anyway because it's bad about the Arabs, you know.
Justified for being gay in the Yemen now this year. Otherwise, you could get 10 years imprisonment, depending on what you've done.
In our country, you can get 2 years in prison for throwing soup on a painting that's covered by a piece of protective glass, knowing full well that it's never going to damage the painting.
13 students were sentenced to death for spreading homosexuality. 13 students who were homosexuals were sentenced to death.
I think what it said was 13 students were sentenced for spreading homosexuality or homosexual propaganda or something like that, but he couldn't really manage it, so he just changed it in his brain. Like he edited live on the fly, didn't he? The man's a mess, isn't he? Like he's like a potato that's fallen behind the fridge.
Students, young men. Brunei. Assyria penal code.
Brunei.
Code in Brunei permits administration of the death penalty for acts of sodomy. Wow. They've not done it since 1996. Instead, they give 30 years for men. Nigeria, the penalty for homosexuality is 14 years. 12 northern states will stone you to death or flog you. Mauritania follows a Sharia-based criminal code, punishable by death. They will face prosecution, imprisonment and harassment. Not many get the death penalty. So that's now. In 2024,
Yep.
Some of those countries are on our screen promoting boxing matches and stuff. What other countries outlaw homosexuality? Well, here's the list. It's illegal in Algeria, Burundi, Cameroon, Cameroons, Egypt,
Burundi,
Eritrea, Ethiopia, Gambia, Ghana, Guinea, Kenya, Liberia, Libya, Malawi, Mauritania, Mauritius, Morocco,
a lot of Africa,
Namibia, Nigeria,
Namibia. Is he this bad? Like 4 of these countries he's mispronounced.
Palestine, Gaza Strip, Senegal, Sierra Leone, Somalia, South Sudan, Tanzania.
How many of these can you find on a map?
Congo, Tunisia, Uganda, Zambia and Zimbabwe. In Asia, homosexuality is illegal in Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Brunei,
Right, they were the African countries, I see.
Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Lebanon, Malaysia, Maldives, Myanmar, Oman, Pakistan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Syria, Turkmenistan, United Arab Emirates and
Uzbekistan.
So you see it's mainly over there.
It's mainly over there.
Isn't those the countries where the
Aren't those the countries?
refugees are piling out of?
Aren't those the countries where the refugees are piling out? So what you're asking me is, are the countries with the worst records of humanitarian violence, I suppose, against minorities, aren't the countries with the worst records of humanitarianism the countries where people are piling out of Yeah, do go on. And what should next happen to these unfortunate souls who flee that terror? It's like Alan's having an epiphany live on TikTok, or recorded and put up on TikTok. But you know what I mean? Like, surely his next couple of TikToks are going to be, I've seen the light. I would love these wonderful people from Eritrea to come over here and establish themselves and live in a community free from fear of vindication and murder for being themselves.
Can you really mix cultures
What?
quickly, like we're doing? Is it not scary? In the Caribbean, Dominica, Grenada, Jamaica, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, the Grenadines, illegal to be a homosexual.
Does he think that those people are flooding out from those countries because they are the bad people who want to ban homosexuality, and they're going to come here and be even, bad in our society, anti-gay? But then again, Alan, as I repeatedly have said, that's your perspective as a right-wing person. You're anti-woke.
Guyana, the Cook Islands,
I can't stand him listing places off a website.
Papua New Guinea, Samoa, Solomon Islands, Tonga, all illegal to have homosexual relations. So, and then you're going to get abuse in Russia and countries like that. You won't get murdered, but you're going to get in trouble. India also against. I mean, they're homophobic. Let's face it. And I could go on all night, but I'm not good.
Well, he's got a list of countries where homophobia is prevalent. He probably says something like that, and he says they're homophobic. Let's face it. What, the Indians? Fine. Bad Indians are homophobic now. Which side are you on?
Yeah. I just tell you the countries where you could even die just because you love somebody of the same sex. Now, obviously, we in Great Britain are a tolerant society, but we don't know who's coming into our country on those boats.
Right. We're a tolerant society, though, so...
As well as throwing away their passports and identification, we don't know their ideologies, do we? I'm warning you of this.
What, do you think it's more likely that they're homophobic or homosexual fleeing the country that would... For fuck's sake, Alan. For fuck's sake.
To be careful, like we all need to be careful from now on in our own country.
And it doesn't matter, because if they are homophobic, then they're on your side anyway. They arrive here and sign up to your bollocks. What an idiot, because check this out.
I said, I'm coming out. I want Lord Ali to know that I like him so. Rumour has it, coming out of number 10. I don't know what to say to you. It's a big story, isn't it?
It feels like Alan's confused about sexuality. That's what this feels like. There's a rumour being spread by the right wing that Kier Starmer is gay. Okay? And, like, it's got to be the most weirdly childish, banal, stupid... Like, politics has gone a bit weird, hasn't it? People think that Kier Starmer's in the pay of the elites and the right wing. But at the same time, they're throwing everything they can to try and discredit him in these early stages of his prime ministership. But ultimately, calling him gay, right? And like, let's say he was. I think he's a bit of a pobby man, to be honest. I don't think he's got much sex appeal to me. But like, let's say he was gay, I wouldn't care. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, okay, he's gay. Like, Pride next year is going to be good, because he'll probably, we've got a prime minister that confront the pride. In fact, I would care, because I think it'd be kind of cool to have a gay prime minister. Like, he could just, like, be a bit more. Well, he doesn't have to be more anything. He can just be himself. Like, if he wants to be at the front of the pride parade, he can. If he doesn't want to. Like, gay is not a personality, is it? Like, it's just who you are. Like, so. I just wouldn't. Yeah, I suppose I'd go back to not really caring. I'd be a little bit proud that. Like, I mean, it'd be different because he didn't outwardly, identify as gay during the election process. So I wouldn't be able to say that we're that forward thinking in our country that we were able to see the politics past someone's choice in that way. whether pro or con, but even then you'd politicise it, wouldn't you? And you'd say he's like the first gay prime minister or something, and I'd think, yeah, great, good on us. You know, that's a sort of symbol of our tolerant society. Good. Like, it wouldn't be like the end of the world or the major thing, though. Do you know what I mean? It'd just be like, okay. Like, if someone said, turns out Keir Starmer's a big fan of cats and he like gifts to a cat sanctuary, I'd be like, oh, I didn't know that about him. That's nice. It's good for him. Like, I'm happy about that. Like, in fact, being gay is not like some socially positive, progressive thing like giving to a charity. Even do you know what I mean? I just wouldn't care, but I would care, and in so much as I'd be happy for him to be himself. But for Alan, it's this after the TikTok he just made. Yeah, sorry, I'll get you a Discord link. After the TikTok he just made about chuffing. I can't believe this to a certain extent. I can't get my head around the fact that he just made a TikTok saying that these countries are bad because they persecute homosexuality, and then he's going to make a TikTok persecuting Keir Starmer for apparently, for ridiculing him for being gay, like a school child would ridicule another. Like, this is some kind of, like, is the man, like, he's supposed to be a grown up. He's supposed to be an adult. Alan is.
Or isn't he? Is he glad to be gay?
Big ups, Pixie Fluff. Did you just miss this one, the previous one?
Hi. Now that we have sort of diverse cultures piling in the country in boats and legally, I think you should know what sort of cultures we have. So I'm going to do a series on the cultures that are being brought into the country, because, you know, we used to be just British culture, and now we're a melting pot, multinational, aren't we? Immigration and all that, you know, like 10%, 15% of people here in England now weren't born here. So we need to know.
England and Wales, 14.8%. Fair enough. He's got a fact.
What their beliefs are, so we can watch out for it, right? So around the world, for instance, homosexuality is criminalised in 64 countries globally.
So he goes on to list all the countries and state that homosexuality being criminalised in these countries is a bad thing, and the people are leaving those countries and coming to our countries, and we should watch out for the bad people who are trying to criminalise homosexuality coming to our countries, despite being right-wing and anti-LGBTQ woke. He's now arguing that. It was fucking bizarre. It's 8 minutes. I've just watched it. Followed by...
I said, I'm coming out. I want Lord Ali to know that I like him so. Rumour has it, coming out of number 10. I don't know what to say to you. It's a big story, isn't it? Is he or isn't he? Is he glad to be gay, or is he in the closet? That's the rumour around Keir Starmer, who spent 10 weeks living at Lord Ali's flat, who is actually gay. Do you notice that there is a sort of how he walks and how he talks? He could possibly be gay, but of course he can't be, can he? Because he's married with children. How could someone that's married with children be gay? We've never seen that before in a politician, have we? Oh yeah, we have. Many a wife holding hands with her husband saying he's made a mistake, but I still love him. There's nothing wrong with being gay. There is something wrong with pretending you're not. Keir seems very at home while making this promotion video for a particular favourite minority group.
There's also something wrong, Alan, with suggesting that if a man stays in a gay man's house for more than a certain amount of time, he might also be gay. There's also something wrong, Alan, with suggesting that if Keir Starmer has the walk and talk of someone who could be gay, that you can spot a gay man by the way he walks and talks. So there are things wrong with what you're saying, but you just don't realise it. And for him to lend his support to the gay pride movement, again, I don't think that makes him gay, And I think your assertion that it could do makes you homophobic. Like, for fuck's sake. Does this mean that you wouldn't stay in a house with a gay man for 11 weeks? Like, what are you saying? Like, I spent years with some of the most wonderful people who happen to be gay, working alongside them in the hairdressing industry. Because like in the hairdressing industry, you see more, I suppose, statistically, I suppose, but also like, you know, in other places as well, you wouldn't believe, like restaurants, bars, all sorts. Like, gay people are just people, and they're just in society, and they're just normal people. Like, I've got, I suppose I could say, relatives or like close family friends that, you know, that close to be relatives, like, who are gay, and I just don't think I even didn't realise it until I just thought of them at this point, because I don't think of them as like a gay person that I know. I think of them as like a person I know, and then, oh yeah, you know, if I'm trying to think of a list of gays that I know, I could put them on the list. Like, I can't believe he's talking in this way. I can't believe I didn't have to explain it like that, but you know what I mean? Like, I think sometimes I reflect on my own perception of the world in contrast to Alan's to make the point, but it could also be your perceptions of the world too, couldn't it? Like, I think you think the same way as me, don't you? Like, I think I don't even have to explain it. Like, what is he even saying? Like, Kier Starmer has spent too much time at a gay man's house, and we've got problems. And it's not a problem if he is actually gay. It's the problem to hide being gay. And I've said this before as well. Like, I agree with that sentiment. I say it about Darkside Phil. Like, Darkside Phil has a latent, closeted homosexual streak. And if he is gay and he just wants to have a boyfriend and love the wrestlers, that is fine. Yeah. But what's weird and strange about it is like lying to yourself, lying to everyone else, getting a wife and all that. Like, that seems weird and strange. So that is a fair point. But to be made in this way about Kier Starmer now is like, and I'll tell you something else, right? Alan is dictated to what he thinks by the mainstream media. And this is a product of the current, all this anti-Starmer stuff. Like, Kier Starmer wasn't Alan's fucking buzzword agenda man until the mainstream media made it an agenda. Alan will read the Daily Mail and the mainstream media and Sky News and say it on his TikTok because he's so head right up the arse of that mainstream media. And today it's Kier Starmer's gay, and don't they look stupid, the people that are ridiculing him? Like, I don't give two fucks about Kier Starmer, really. He's not like, you know, the Superman of the world. But doesn't this look like the most stupid thing in the world? Like, it's worse than school. Like, if someone came home from school and said, oh, you know, at school today, some of the kids said that I was gay, and school, some kids have called so and so gay. Like, but this is the Prime Minister of the country, and this is a grown man who's angry about not having his winter fuel allowance, and this is where we're at. And like, I'm here for it. In a way, I'm sort of happy for it, because, you know, I should be making comedic content about it. I should be making jokes. But I guess at this time of night, and with the mindset I've got right now, I'm just kind of shell-shocked. But I'm happy that Alan's done it. I should say that, you know, in my gut feeling is, wow, this is good that he's doing this. What an idiot. Like, the more stupid he can make himself look, the better I like it. And this is right up there. This for me is up there with grass soup. This is right up there, especially the one beforehand. So I think I will just quickly skip back to the one before, because I'm loving this now.
Hi, there's quite a few Iranians here, isn't there? Yemen, homosexuality is illegal and punishable by imprisonment for 3 years. So these are countries where you daren't be openly gay, right? You will be tortured and whipped and things like that.
So homophobia is bad. I mean, Alan's got gay on the mind today, hasn't he? But homophobia is bad. Yeah? Did I put the link in the chat? Did I do that? Yeah, I did, didn't I? Yeah. Homophobia is bad. Okay, got it. I understand your viewpoint. Although the viewpoint he's trying to make here is that the people that come from these countries, like, he even mentions the human rights at one point. I've just literally covered it, so I'm not going to go back. But like, homophobia is bad, yeah?
I said, I'm coming out. I want Lord Ali to that I like him so. Rumour has it,
I'm boosting it on the field.
Coming out of number 10.
Start again.
I said, I'm coming out. I want Lord Ali to know that I like him so. Rumour has it, coming out of number 10. I don't know what to say to you. It's a big story, isn't it? Is he or isn't he? Is he glad to be gay?
Ooh.
Or is he in the closet?
Ooh.
That's the rumour around Kier Starmer, who spent
Same.
10 weeks living at Lord Halley's flat.
Same.
He is actually gay.
The exact same.
Do you notice that there is a sort of how he walks and how he talks? He could possibly be gay, but of course he can't be, can he? Because he's married with children.
Do you notice the way he walks and the way he talks? He could possibly be gay. Do you notice the way he walks and the way he talks? He could possibly be gay. Right, background music's coming on now because I need it.
How could someone that's married with children be gay? We've
Listen
never
as well,
seen
right?
that before.
Well, we've never seen that before, people pretending. There are people who marry, have children, and then discover their homosexuality later in life, I think. And that's not to say they don't love their children or weren't happy with their marriage, but like things might change for them. Like that happens in our world as well. Like, you know, the way he's talking about this is so horrific. It's like a lot of Alan's content is like watching a slow motion car crash online, like, and this is one of those. Oh my god.
For a politician, have we? Oh yeah, we have. Many a wife holding hands with her husband saying he's made a mistake, but I still love him. There's nothing wrong with being gay. There is something wrong with pretending you're not. Kier seems very at home while making this promotion video for a particular favourite minority group.
I dare say as well, if he had come out years ago, he would just still get elected. I don't think like his being gay would have put him off being elected. I think people would have just taken him for red as a politician based on his politics. And, you know, I think if Kier Starmer had stood for election and everyone had known he was gay, it would have been fine.
That he loves to support whenever he can. Bless him.
Coronavirus has changed life as we know it. It means that this year's Pride marches, which bring so much meaning and joy, can't happen. But we can come together in different ways. And I'm delighted to support this virtual Pride for All in support of the Kaleidoscope Trust.
And then cut to Alan singing with kids on Smule. In contrast.
Proud to be an ally of the
I mean, what were you doing while you were in lockdown, Alan, when you couldn't go to the Pride March during lockdown, Alan? You were grifting people for money off the Chris Watts case, weren't you? So
LGBTQ plus community. I'm proud to lead a Labour Party which has consistently advanced the causes of civil rights, legalising homosexuality and tackling the toxic legacy of Section 28, equalising the age.
That's exactly what Alan was just talking about in his last TikTok, about how these bad people were against that. So he thinks Kier Starmer's good now, does he?
And more recently, helping deliver same-sex marriage in Northern Ireland. I know there is much more to do. We must stand against homophobia, transphobia and discrimination wherever it rears its head. And we must help those in the LGBTQ plus community who are most affected by COVID, such as those locked down in homes where they may face discrimination.
I didn't
Or those with long-term health conditions.
Alan's recording that on something, probably on his phone, and he just did something else and it went dark and it came up, but he doesn't care. Like when I'm recording something for my TikTok, or I don't have a TikTok, but if I was recording for a TikTok or YouTube, like, then if it goes wrong like that, I cut and I start again, because it's just one recording and I'm just doing it and it only takes seconds. I've got to get it right, you know. Alan leaves like mistakes like that in his content, and it's just a little silly mistake, but it just shows how he doesn't give a fuck.
I hope this event brings positivity and solidarity during these difficult times. Thanks to Pink News and thanks to all of you taking part. Happy Pride.
Not that I don't make mistakes, and this is not about me anyway, it's about Alan being an arsehole.
Yeah, so things are coming out of number 10, aren't they? And the nation is gripped to know. Will it change his position as Prime Minister?
I'm not gripped to know. If he came out tomorrow and decided to move his boyfriend into number 10, I wouldn't give a shit, really. Like, it wouldn't be a major news story for me. And yeah, I suppose that's...
Will it rock the Labour Party?
No, I don't think it would it? It'd just be like, Kier Starmer comes out as gay, life carries on.
Why would this Lord Alley give Starmer his flat for 10 weeks?
Because he's a strong supporter of the Labour Party. Like, you know, if you want to investigate that stuff, you want to go through the last 14 years of what the Tories have been doing, you fucking idiot. Like, it's not the major. Lord Ali allowed Keir Starmer, who's been public prosecutor and all this, you know, stuff, and he's the leader of the Labour Party, to use his property, his flat, for a bit during the summer. And the reason was given, wasn't it, that Keir Starmer wanted to get out of his family home because his son was doing revision for GCSEs, and the sort of having the Prime Minister live at his house and all the goings on was causing a bit of a kerfuffle in the house. So he just needed to work away from home. Like, I don't know, like, it doesn't seem like a major story to me.
Don't look now. He's a very private man, is Lord Ali.
Big up Child Dyke Empress. He was telling his mods you got all the money from his book. He said you don't work for free.
Now, Starmer has been told to distance himself from Ali because of his links to a certain leader of a certain country. Really. Ali has donated over £700,000 to his friends in the Labour Party. Was this led by Mr. Starmer? Are they really good friends?
£700,000 isn't a lot politically when you consider what the Tories have been taking.
Thoughts on the coming out scandal at number 10?
You know, it's just like throwing more mud at different, like, politicians, the Labour Party, things like that, they have donors, they announce them publicly, like it's all above board, if you know what I mean. Like, you could question the whole system, but it's not like Keir Starmer's been doing some behind the scenes dirty things here. It's all just declared. So, like, they're just trying to throw mud, and Alan's decided to jump on the homophobic bandwagon against Keir Starmer, one breath after decrying homophobia in Arabic countries, because he thinks the homophobic Arabs will come over here in boats, having left the humanitarian crisis, because they want to tear down our humanitarian rules, which is arguing against himself because he wants to tear down our humanitarian rules, thank you very much. And he also thinks that homophobia is a good thing, so I don't know why he doesn't like the Arabs that are coming here that are homophobic. He seems really confused about homosexuality. That's what happened today. Alan is very confused about homosexuality. That's the way I'll say that. I'll put that on YouTube. You be good if you can't be good, you naughty. Shh. Alan's a homophobic bastard. That's how he got deleted off YouTube. I wonder if TikTok will delete him for that. For this one.
I said, I'm coming
out. This one. Can you report that?
out. I want Lord Ali to know that I like him so. Rumour has it.
Reported for hate speech and discrimination. Because Alan said, you can't report. Alan will say, you can't report me for hate speech and discrimination, because I said there's nothing wrong with being gay, it's just something wrong with hiding your gayness. And I would say to you, Alan, whilst that's a fair opinion, you said that you could spot someone who was gay by the way they walked, the way they talked, and that is discriminatory. You bad chuffer.